Legacy is probably the most popular post within the subreddit of pickleball right now.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I've said it's like mixed, right? It's kind of like a double-edged sword, like
yep,
or like a kind of like a love-hate. There
yep,
are people who are like, man, I just ordered it, and you see it like posts are just flooding,
yeah.
just like I can't wait. And on the flip side, there's like also
Where's my paddle?
3 months. Yeah. And I've talked about it on the last episode too. It's
Yeah,
just like it's not a it's not like a knock at all. It's just like there's high demand, and Joey cleared things up and was like, there's manufacturing like holdups. There's things that are kind of like outside of your control.
yeah,
So yeah, I want to give you a chance
yeah.
to shed some light on that. Even though you are transparent, you send emails, you have like posts, but yeah, just give you the opportunity to shed some light on
Yeah.
it.
We grew fast, right? We came out October and December. We had sold out already, even before reviews came out, because everyone that was in our area was buying the paddle and knew that we had something different, right? It was just built different, and you could feel it when you hit it. You could feel it, and so we were approved in September, and you know a couple months down the road, the Carbon Power Series comes out right behind ours. This is very similar to ours. It was very apparent that our factory was not the most loyal when it came to intellectual property. And so, lesson learned, Carbon's a great company. But, we felt like we, we brought something out that was, you know, different. And so right after that, you saw Vatic 6.0 coming out. And, everybody has their different opinion on who brought it to the table as far as the thermoforming and all that. But needless to say, in December, we sold out. Some reviews came out. They were really good. On the 26th of December, we sold out. I had a rush order coming in, came in on the 3rd. Before the 3rd even got in, we had already sold out of that shipment that came in, which was triple the amount that we had ordered prior. So I rushed another shipment before the factories went into their holiday for 20 days, their Chinese New Year. And that was really the huge issue, was planning accordingly for that, right? And so, being in the industry probably last April, you might know about that. And I was not prepared for the demand, you know. And so we rushed another order in. We went into back order status, shut down pre-orders, and then dropped the price just as a convenience to our customers. Because look, we're not trying to make a bunch of money on people. We wanted to make affordable paddle. We struggle with that in itself, because people say, "Oh, it's $150." It's a good value at 150, but they look at paddles that are 250 and go, "Man, those must be really good paddles." Well, actually, our paddle could sell for 250. Our paddle could sell for 300. It's not because we're a small company or we're new to the market. We could have came out and put the price at 299, and people would have still bought it, right? Because they like expensive things. And so that's not who we are. We're family oriented. And so, the demand got so high so quickly that, we were prepared in February for the shipments to come. There was a delay at the factory because not only was our demand getting higher, Carbon's demand got higher, 6.0's demand got higher, Vatic's demand got higher. So now all of a sudden, the factory that is pushing the thermoforming paddles is at max capacity, right? And so they got to make a decision on, who do we cater to? Do we cater to the bigger company in Carbon? Do we cater to the smaller companies? Do we try to balance it out? So they started, I feel like, trying to balance this all out and try to keep us all happy. And so they started cutting our supplies. And so we, at the same time, started looking at some issues in the marketplace with the delaminations. And so in some of the colder areas, we were noticing that not only us, but some other companies, the thermoforming companies, were dealing with some issues around delamination, where the glue's coming undone from the core, and it's making this paddle a little bit more powerful in some instances. Some instances it's making it dead. And we immediately went into, okay, we got to fix this issue, because we don't want it to become an issue, right? And listen, paddles are not made to be played in 35-degree weather. If you put glue in a freezer, it's going to crack. If you put glue in a heater, or you go put it in a truck in Alabama at 100 degrees outside, it's going to turn into 150 degrees and the glue is going to start to melt. Don't leave them in your car in extreme weather. Don't leave it outside. Try not to play in 35-degree weather for long, because not only are you playing with a paddle that's cold with a cold face, you're playing with a cold core, and you're playing with a ball that gets harder in the cold, right? So, we're definitely seeing more delamination issues, I think, across the four companies in the colder areas. And so we immediately went back, started trying to adjust the application at the factory. That took some time, 2 or 3 weeks for them to adjust. That kicked our supplies back. We got some tests back from that, and we noticed that some of the other companies had a couple of new ones that didn't pass. They were starting to necessarily, or not necessarily not pass, but they delaminated. And so we were like, okay, well, we need to make an adjustment here, because we're not going to just stick this out at the same factory. If we can't get this process done right, we're going to check out some other factories. And that's what we did. And so Legacy shifted, right? We made a big shift really quickly. No one knew about it. We took the same application, same materials, the same design set up for Legacy Pro, and we took it somewhere else at the same time. And we kind of recreated a different thermoforming process. Thermoforming has been around for a long time in different industries. Word on the street is it's been in our industry before in different applications. But, the way we were doing it with the foam and the carbon seal and everything, it just seemed like that was the best technological advancement that we could make, coming from what was out on the market. And with carbon fiber being real popular, that was where we wanted to be. And so if the process is a really good process and it's a really good paddle, if glue is the issue, we ought to be able to fix it. So we had to rechange, or readdress rather, the way things were, I guess, set up. Because, say for instance, if you put all the pieces together and you glue it and then you heat it up, maybe the heat itself is breaking down some of the glue internally, right? And then as it's shipped out later, different elements are hitting the paddle. It's starting to now show, because it's becoming delaminated. Well, we felt like you could do the same process without doing it exactly that way, right? Before maybe the glue was all applied. And so we shifted it, and that caused us some delays. And of course, we went into emergency mode. People were still wanting the paddle. We thought about backing off and not continue to do pre-orders and or back orders, and people were still blowing us up. We were getting emails after emails, please let us just put the order in. And I'm like, okay, so we'll just continue to do that, and we'll be very transparent. I try to live by that myself. And so, obviously, a double-edged sword. Reddit. If you breathe wrong, they'll tell you. And so, there's Reddit subreddits out there that, hey, I ordered mine at 1/12/2023 at 10:52 p.m. with 23 seconds to go. You know what I mean? And so I just got my paddle, and somebody else is out there. Oh man, I ordered mine on 3/1 at 12, whatever. I'm waiting. It's like, I love it, man. It's such a great problem, but it really breaks your heart, because you want to be able to give people the paddle, but at the same time, I want to make sure they're happy with what they're getting, right? And I'd much rather people be upset with me for the delay and us give them discounts, or maybe, like, for instance, I just sent out a mass email. I don't know if you heard about it or not, but I gave everybody like 4 options that were coming from January and February orders. And it was like, get a percentage off your current paddle, right, order, or get percentage off your next Legacy Pro order, or the Legacy paddle order, or off our tour bags that are about to come out, right? Or you can donate 10%, and we'll donate 10% to the Dementia Society of America, because not only with all that going on, my father's started to develop some dementia himself, and was walking down the street headed to the gas station to see his little buddy at the gas station, fell in the middle of the road, and knocked himself out, and broke his wrist, shattered it. had to have emergency surgery. He's 69 years old. We weren't sure if he was going to make it through it, just the anesthesia alone. And he stayed in the hospital for 3 weeks. He literally got out last night. And so, that's just life. No excuses on delays or anything like that, but tried to be very transparent and tell people that. And, um, you know, that's what we're about. Legacy, we're all about family. Here we are with a family issue that is not causing any delays. It's absolutely the quality control that we're trying to in place, and we have paddles in hand. We're scanning them. We hear that USAPA is looking at changing the way they do some of the testing. So we're very much waiting to hear what they're planning on doing so that we can be abreast of it. We'd love to see more transparency in that part of the industry so that we could continue to make good paddles for people. But we'll see how that plays out.